Hey, what's up, guys? So this is my fourth episode of Bible Breakdown. It's gonna be picking up at chapter 12. Okay, to keep in mind, this is just my perspective only. This doesn't reflect anybody else's opinion or fact. This is just for those of you that are interested in the same thing, I guess you can say, because like a lot of people take everything out of context. So I figured I'd put some things into context for everybody. So. It says, a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. So that's verse 1 of chapter 12. So a great sign appeared in heaven. A sign could have been like a neon sign, like a billboard. A woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. I don't know, Queen Elizabeth made the headlines back then. No offense to Queen Elizabeth, which lies a lot of bitch, was probably to Elizabeth McCoy, I think her married name was. So, Queen Elizabeth, if you see this, that's it. Respectfully to her. Of 12 stars. So 12 different tribes, 12 different zodiacs, a crown of 12 stars. Could also mean like an actual crown, like somebody's actual crown with like 12 diamonds or something in it. Or it could be I just want to say the 12 original that seeded the planet. She was pregnant and was crying out in birth pains in the agony of giving birth. And another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his heads 7 diadems with 7 heads. So the Hydra, it's the Hydra, and 10 horns. So and on his heads 7 diadems. So what are diadems? It was coins, currency. His tail swept down a third of the stars of heaven and cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, so that when she bore her child, he might devour it. Or the great version of Kronos. She gave birth to a male child, which I'm assuming was Zeus, one who is to rule all the nations with a rod of iron, but her child was caught up to God and to his throne. Theseus. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by God, in which she is to be nourished for 1,260 days. To be nourished for that. But see, the wilderness mean BFE, Tetrachino. Because technically it's kind of still, it's a metropolitan area, but it's still BFE considerably. Technically. Now war arose in heaven, Michael and his angels fighting against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was defeated, and there was no longer any place for them in heaven. So, tell me again how Lucifer was the only one that fell, when this literally just said they were defeated, and there was no longer any place for them in heaven. Meaning, I don't know, like the rich people, because their societal standards are just so amazing. Respectfully to the rich people that actually do still have a good heart. And the great dragon was thrown down, that ancient serpent who is called the devil and Satan. That's not true. The devil could be anything, and Satan is an adversary or a foe. So it was a foe. It was just there was a great war, and there were enemies involved. Ancient serpent, doctors, because of the staff and the 2 snakes on the staff. The DNA, it also has to do with DNA as well, of the whole world. And he was thrown down to the earth, and his angels were thrown down with him. So Lucifer was the only one that fell? Nope. They all did. And they fought hard and were defeated because of snakes, because of liars and cheaters and greed. And then I heard a voice in heaven saying, now the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ meaning What does Christ mean? Do we remember? Let's do a little fucking word lookup really quick. It means anointed one. But it also means one who is anointed. Go back. I don't like Wikipedia. Where's Merriam-Webster? There it is. An ideal type of humanity. But we're always so quick just to take the first definition of it. So, Christian Science, the ideal truth that comes as a divine manifestation of God to destroy or incarnate error. I think that was supposed to say intricate, maybe. Not that just sounds weird, but I could be wrong. So anyways, I want to continue. The authority of his Christ have come, the authority of an ideal true humanity. For the accuser of our brothers has been thrown down, who accuses them day and night before our God. So they murdered the person that was delivering the message because he was telling the truth. And they have conquered him by the blood of the Lamb, or I said lamb can mean children, because they're pure and innocent. And by the word of their testimony, for they loved not their lives even unto death. So they didn't care about the kids' lives, not even in death. They just don't give a shit. And they're our future. It's sick. Therefore rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them. But woe to you, O earth and sea, for the devil has come down to you in great wrath, because he knows that his time is short. And the devil is pedophiles, rapists, murderers for nothing. Because there's a difference between defending yourself and then just murdering for somebody because they're different, or because, well, just for shits and laughs. And when the dragon saw that he had been thrown down to earth, he pursued the woman who had given birth to the male child. But the woman was given the 2 wings of the great eagle, so that she might fly from the serpent into the wilderness, to the place where she is to be nourished for a time, and times and half a time. The serpent poured water like a river out of his mouth, and after the woman, to sweep her away with the flood. So she traveled by sea. But the earth came to help the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed the river that the dragon had poured from his mouth. The New Madrid Fault. The dragon being Tiamat, if you're familiar with ancient Sumerian, not monologues, but stories and glyphs and stuff. It says, then the dragon became furious with the woman and went off to make war on the rest of her offspring, on those who keep the commandments of God and hold the testimony of Jesus. And he stood on the sand of the sea. Davy Jones, or aka Cthulhu. And he's not an octopus. Again, he's not an octopus. That was just a fabricated story to hide his identity. Chapter 13. And I saw a beast rising out of the sea with 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 diadems on its horn and blasphemous names on its head. Amen. And the beast that I saw was like a leopard. Its feet were like a bear's, and its mouth was like a lion's mouth. The Kraken. Sea monster. That's probably actually real. If it's probably been asleep, but it's woke up now. And to it the dragon gave his power and his throne and great authority. One of its heads seemed to have a mortal wound, but its mortal wound was healed, and the whole earth marveled as they followed the beast. And they worshipped the dragon, for he had given his authority to the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like the beast, and who can fight against it? And the beast was given a mouth uttering haughty and blasphemous words, and it was allowed to exercise authority for 42 months. It opened its mouth to utter blasphemies against God, blaspheming his name and his dwelling, that is, those who dwell in heaven. God means a person greatly admired. Or the supreme or ultimate reality. Supreme reality, not supreme being. Or heaven, too. Okay, it also was allowed to make war on the saints and to conquer them, and authority was given it over every tribe and people and language and nation, because some of the saints aren't actually saints. They're just fake. They're fake saints. And authority was given it to every tribe and people and language and nation. And all that dwell on the earth will worship it, everyone whose name has not been written before the foundation of the world in the book of life of the Lamb who was slain. If anyone has an ear, let him hear. If anyone is to be taken captive, to captivity he goes. If anyone is to be slain with the sword must he be slain. Here is a call for the endurance and faith of the saints. This was also said by somebody in the military that passed away, that was in World War II. I think it was MacArthur that said something similar. It was the Air Force and the Navy. Then I saw another beast rising out of the earth. It had two horns like a lamb, and it spoke like a dragon. Like a lamb, and spoke like a dragon. It exercises all the authority of the first beast in its presence, and makes the earth and its inhabitants worship the first, whose mortal wound was healed. It performs great sins, even making fire come down from heaven to earth in front of people. And by the signs that is allowed to work in the presence of the beast, it deceives those who dwell on earth. No, never deceived. They deceive themselves every time. And that's the easiest part, is because we're so quick to... It's easier to believe lies than it is to face the truth sometimes. Telling them to make an image for the beast that was wounded by the sword and yet lived. Nope. Not true. That was a lie. They assumed that's what they wanted. They assumed that he wanted to be made an idol, and that's what it wasn't meant to be like that. And it was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast might even speak, and might cause those who would not worship the image of the beast to be slain. That's actually Caesar de Borgia. The picture that they have of Jesus is Caesar de Borgia's son. If you look up an actual picture of Caesar de Borgia's son. And it causes all, both small and great, both rich and poor, both free and slave, to be marked on the right hand or on the forehead. so that no one can buy or sell or unless he has the mark that is this name of the beast of the number of its name. It's not 666 either. 666 represents the protons, neutrons, and electrons in the carbon atom that is a part of the creation of men. And Drew Gibson told me that. So you can't, it says, so that no one can buy or sell credit cards, debit cards, cell phones, because you can't buy or sell or do anything without a cell phone now. This calls for wisdom. Let the one who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of man, and this number is 666. It's actually this, 6, it goes 6 times 6 times 6, which is, I don't know, actually it's 6 times 3, which is 18. So you have 666, so you have the actual 6, which is carbon. You multiply it, and you get 18, so 1 is hydrogen. And 8 is what? But, and then you do numerology like you're supposed to, and 8 plus 1 is 9. And then you get, fluorine, I think, is what you get, fluorine. I'm gonna double check. Download. There we go. Eight is oxygen. And yeah, 9 is fluorine. So, in conclusion, we're mostly made up of carbon, but we have all these other elements in this. So, that's actually what it is. It's how to clone a human. Give or take with the technology. Chapter 14, last one, because I'm already at 18 minutes. Then I looked, and behold, on Mount Zion stood the Lamb, and with him 144,000 who had his name and his father's name written on their foreheads. It was going to be the Nazi, World War II, the Nazi concentration camps. But it wasn't just them, so don't be fooled. And I heard a voice from heaven, and the roar of many waters, and like the sound of loud thunder. The voice I heard was like the sound of harpists playing on their harps. And it's referring to Apollo, actually Hermes, because he was the one with the lyre. Yeah, my keys are in that jacket pocket. And they were singing a new song before the throne, before the 4 living creatures, and before the elders. No one could learn that song except the 144,000 who had been redeemed from the earth. But it wasn't just the Jews. It was a select few. Certain bloodlines that they've been trying to keep hidden forever, and suppress and manipulate and hurt. It wasn't just Jews. It is these who have not defiled themselves with women, for they are virgins. It is these who follow the Lamb wherever he goes. These have been redeemed from mankind as first fruits for God and the Lamb. When it's talking about defiling women, it's talking about raping and murdering women and children. Virgins. I'm gonna say some Islamic peoples, not all, but some, respectably, because I do respect beliefs. I'm just saying that's theoretically too as well. So, and in their mouths no lie was found, for they are blameless. but it's talking about the 144,000 that have been redeemed for their sins when they took accountability. Generational curses. Then I saw another angel flying directly overhead with an internal gospel to proclaim to those who dwell on earth, to every nation and tribe and language and people. Overhead. I'm just going to say my fellow Mambos and Huguins. Mambo! To proclaim to those who dwell on earth, to every nation and tribe and language and people. So the messengers, per se. We're just going to say messengers. And he said with a loud voice, "Fear God and give him glory, because the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him who made heaven and earth, the sea, and the springs of water." Another angel, a second, followed, saying, "Fallen, fallen is Babylon the great, she who made all nations drink the wine of the passion of her sexual immorality," which that wasn't true either. She didn't force anybody to drink wine. They had a party. And, it says, "Judgment has come, and worship him who made heaven and earth." So, we are creators of our own reality. So therefore, that would be considerably, worship yourself. Don't blindly worship other things and other things, because the demons and angels and all those spirits, I don't like calling them that because it's disrespectful. Everything has been demonized so much, and it's like, no, that's not right. So I'm calling the lords and ladies of the underworld, all of them, and I respect them and they respect me. They're my guides. My ancestors as well is mixed in with that. And all they ever wanted to do was to help us and to teach us. And when we fuck up, take accountability for it. Instead, they just want to point the finger. But Babylon was destroyed because Tiamat refused to sleep with everybody. She wasn't a whore. But they made her a whore. They did her like they did me. They killed her and raped her. But she didn't die. She just kind of hid. Her energy hid. Because nothing ever really truly dies. This vessel dies, yes, but your soul, your energy lives on. Well, unless you really get thrown in the abyss. But other than that, which there is an abyss, but it's not like this fiery pit. It's the void. It's the nothing. It's not getting not getting reincarnated. Not it's like you're done. You've done so much bad shit. You're done. You get sent to the void where Cthulhu is. I think that's correct. That's Cthulhu's domain, void. And it's nothing. And it's lonely and it's cold. And that's where really bad souls that just can't get it right the first incarnations go. Because at that point, you're pure evil, you're nothing. You don't have no balance, you're nothing. Because there's no space for that type of cruelty in a world that is trying to be peaceful and loving, with no malice in their heart, no greed, no hurt. That's heaven. And another angel, a third, followed them, saying with a loud voice, "If anyone worships the beast and its image and receives a mark on his forehead or on his hand, he will also drink the wine of God's wrath, poured full strength into the cup of his anger, and he will be tormented with fire and sulfur in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb." Auschwitz. And then other places too, but I don't know where. I feel it, if that makes sense. I don't know exactly where, but it wasn't just Auschwitz. It was other places too. Still is, to a degree. Some, I don't know, the kids down at the border that are being put into that have been put into concentration camps or concentration style camps and raped, and it's going silently. It's not cool. Those are children. And regardless if they're a different ethnicity than us, they're still children. And the fact that even though, yes, their parents came here illegally, they were still born here, so that makes them an American citizen. And you're separating those kids from their parents. And you're raping them, and you're killing them, and you're acting like it's not even happening. You're turning a blind eye, but yet, guess what? An eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. And that means when you turn, you just, it's not happening because it's not your family. That's bullshit. If it was your family, you'd be doing something about it. Respectively. And the smoke of their torment goes up forever and ever. And also the sex trafficking that's going on in Texarkana. They use a crematorium, an old crematorium at that, to dispose of the children and the women, because they find these women that have nobody, that are, or they think they don't have anybody, and they rape and kill them along with some of their kids, and or sex traffic their children not across the United States, but down through the border. And the smoke of their torment goes up forever and ever, and they have no rest, day or night, these worshippers of the beast and its image, whoever receives the mark of its name. Here is a call for the endurance of the saints, those who keep the commandments of God and their faith in Jesus. And I heard a voice from heaven saying, "Write this, blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on. Blessed indeed, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, for their deeds that follow them." Then I looked, and behold, a white cloud, seated on the cloud, one like a son of man, with a golden crown on his head and a sharp sickle in his hand. Abaddon, aka Death. And another, because it's harvest time. It's time to reap what you sow. And if you've done good, then you don't have nothing to worry about. But if you haven't, well, guess what? Your crops are going to be shitty. And they did that shit to the farmers too. Yep. So, guess what? From the farmers, respectively, they ain't happy. Because not only are we going to starve, so are they. Because of your arrogance and your pride. You know who you are. The BBB. Not all, some. I'm just saying, generally speaking, this is, like I said, pure opinion, okay? Not fact, but this, I'm breaking it down the way that I'm viewing it. Okay? And another angel came out of the temple, calling with a loud voice to him who sat on the cloud, "Put in your sickle and reap, for the hour to reap has come, for the harvest of the earth is fully ripe." So he who sat on the cloud swung his sickle across the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the temple in heaven, and he too had a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar, the angel who has authority over the fire, and he called with a loud voice to the one who had the sharp sickle, "Put in your sickle and gather the clusters from the vine of the earth, for its grapes are ripe." Vineyards. Because they have immigrant children picking or doing the work. Or immigrants, period. So the angel swung his sickle across the earth and gathered the grape harvest for the earth and threw it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. The wrath of the ideal humanity, meaning everything that was out of balance is going to be brought back to balance. So get right and stop lying. Tell the truth. Hold yourself accountable as much as you can. Be honest. Be transparent. Because honestly, transparency gets you a lot further than lying, even if it hurts. And here's the thing. It's not, you don't need a book to tell you basic human rights. The fact that, one, you would even need a book to do that to begin with says everything. Respectfully. Because then it's forced. And it's not coming from a genuine place. And then the winepress was trodden outside the city, and blood flowed from the winepress, and as high as a horse's bridle for 1 1,600 stadia. Yeah. Red River Army Depot with, I don't know if it's nuclear, but it's toxic waste that's seeping in, as well as Domtar into the water filtration system. The forever chemicals that they just discovered probably came from our shit too. And if you don't know what forever chemicals means, it means chemicals that don't break down naturally in the atmosphere, so they stay, or they in the environment, and they stay forever. So if they're in the water, what the fuck is that doing to our bodies, our pets' bodies, our kids, everything? I don't know. COVID? No. It's just causing cancers, health problems, dental problems, the whole nine. Because it's forever, it stays in your body. Because if it don't break down in the environment, damn sure your body is not going to be capable of breaking it down. So not only is that happening, but it's then at that point it's like double because of the food. So, but that's all I have for this episode of Bible Breakdown. Please leave a comment or like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you thought. Let me know your thoughts as well on if you're actually following along and if you have a different perception, because I'm always for somebody else's perception and perspective of things, because that's when I learn too. So I'm the eternal phoenix, and I'm constantly rising from the ashes. And stay above the norm. Stand out. It's okay. Not everybody's going to judge you.